house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 17 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Kahito Brooke. I hope I said your name right. Happy birthday! I hope it's an awesome day. Alright, so it looks like it could be trouble in paradise for Clay and Shelly. What? Remember the other day when Clay was like, Shelly, I love your withering body. Withering body? Like, they were joking around, but she's upset about it now, after the fact. So Clay was talking about the situation with a bunch of people out in the backyard. I think it was like Jason, Austin, Audrey, Steve, Liz, and Jackie, and they were all across the board like, what were you thinking? Like, do not bring up age, do not bring up like body type or anything like that. You're just asking for trouble. So Clay is like, oh, guess I better work on that. So then Shelly and Clay were chatting in the HOH room, of course. Where else are they going to hang out? So Clay is like, yeah, so are you over that whole withering comment? And she's just like, I'm freaking over it. You're the one who keeps bringing it up, so just stop. So moving on, Shelly tells Clay about the conversation that she had with Day. More rhymes. So Day was like, yeah, I really need the money. I'm doing this for my daughter. Where have we heard that before? And Day was asking Shelly to put up Audrey so that she has a fighting chance. She tells Shelly that she's not coming after her or Clay. And Shelly's just like, yeah, she's really pulling at my heartstrings. I was starting to question my decisions for a minute. And I was thinking maybe I should keep Day, but then she was like, no, she has to go because once she's gone, that whole group that she's with is gonna scatter. So Steve and Austin were having a little game chat. Steve Austin. And Austin was giving him some tips about the game. He was like, Steve, everybody knows that you're always listening, you're a big listener, you're collecting a lot of information, going around the house talking to everybody. Maybe try like sharing little tidbits of information every once in a while with some people, and then it'll make them feel like they can trust you a little bit more. Hint, hint. I just feel like Austin was hoping to get some information at that point, and Steve was not really picking up on those cues. So, what is he doing? Okay. Try to ignore the taps. Okay, so I have a question. Is Big Brother giving these house guests sunscreen? Jeff and Audrey got the worst burns yesterday. Oh my god, Audrey's face was so red, and then Jeff's like everything was so red, and he like pulled down his pants a little bit to see like the tan lines, and it was terrifying. Like, it looked so painful. So hopefully they got some aloe up in there or something, because that looks rough. Alright, so Jeff and Jackie were having a chat, and they were talking about Meg being the replacement nominee. Pretty much everyone knows about it at this point, except for like Day and Meg. So Shelly still hasn't confirmed to Meg, like, you're going up on the block, and that's super awkward, and I feel like it's really poor, I feel like he's like that guy, like, let's go Mets. I feel like it's just really poor HOH management on Shelly's part. Like, you should definitely warn someone before they go on the block if you want to keep a good relationship with them. It's really late, and it's just like so hilarious to me. But anyway, the tapping, not Shelly's poor HOH skills. So James and Day were having oh my god. James and Day were having a chat in the backyard, and Day was just like, what's going on? Like, what's the temperature? What's the temperature in the house? And James was just like, it's not looking good. So he's like, no one is really talking right now. I'm so sorry. He said no one's really talking right now. It's like the decision has already been made, so like it's just not looking good for Day. So what the hell is going on here? So Day hopes that there's still a chance that Shelly's gonna put up Audrey on the block, let the house decide. Maybe again she'll have a fighting chance. But Day says, like, no matter what, even if it's so not funny. Day says, even if she's going home, she hopes that she's still gonna get votes from James, Jason, and Meg, because at this point, she doesn't know that Meg is going up on the block. So she doesn't want people to just be like, I'm voting with the house. Like, she wants to get those sympathy votes. I swear. Okay. So, Shelly and Vanessa were chatting on the hammock, and they were talking about Audrey and what happened last week when everybody was calling Audrey out. And this conversation just like made me want to punch myself in the face repeatedly, because it was just like so ridiculous. So they were saying like, oh, this was like a classic example of the mob mentality taking over, and it was so not cool, like Audrey didn't deserve all that. So then these two were like, yeah, I can't even come up with anything that Audrey did wrong last week. Like what? She may have made up that rumor about the Girls Alliance. It wasn't even that big of a deal. Really? Because I remember Vanessa like crapping in her diaper about it and like crying all over the place. So yeah, it kind of was a big deal. So then they were saying that people were looking for like any reason to call her out last week because she's so good at the game and they're scared of her. Or it's because Audrey was being ridiculous last week. Are you people kidding me? Are you serious right now? Let me wipe away the tears. So, I still can't believe that they had that conversation. Like, the memories are so short in this house. It's ridiculous. So then, last night, Jeff and Austin had their podcast again, and it was all about, like, dating and stuff. These people really need to, like, do something. I don't know. But there was some funny stuff in there. I will give them that. There was some funny stuff. And at one point, Meg even gave James a kiss on the cheek. Oh boy. I feel like he's going to be loyal to her till the end now. He's like ready to marry Meg. Anyway, Shelly finally pulls Meg up to the HOH room with James and Jeff, and she tells them, Day is my target this week, so I'm gonna need a pawn that's close to Day to make sure that she goes home. So she's like, it's you, Meg. And Meg's just like, I kind of expected that. Maybe because like everyone already knew about it. But yeah, she was just like, I get it, like you just better not let me go home. And also she was like, I don't want you to make a habit of this. I want you to remember that I did this for you and like look out for me for a while. Well, judging by Shelly's memory in this game, I wouldn't count on that. So during this whole conversation up in the HOH room, Shelly was getting pissed because people kept coming up and like interrupting the conversation. But it's just like really weird because she was so pissed before that nobody was coming up to talk. So now people are coming up and she's just like, get out. So yeah, she ended up turning away Becky, Jackie, Audrey, and Johnny Mac. Again, not a good look. I don't think that's the best HOH management, but it is what it is. Even with all those screw-ups this week, I still think that Shelly's in a really good spot for next week, even after like going against the house by not putting up Audrey. Alright, so now that the whole withering body thing is over, Shelly and Clay are arguing about food. It's so ridiculous. See? Alright, so they were hanging out in the HOH. They were hanging out in the HOH room with Jackie and Audrey, talking about food, talking about the different food items that Big Brother buys for the house guests and how it's like not the best food, like health-wise. So then Clay's like, you know, Shelly, you claim to eat so healthy, but you could do better. Oh, snap! Okay, so like, I feel like he had good intentions here, but he really showed his age with this comment, and he could do better. So Shelly was super pissed. She starts ranting on and on about how she eats so much healthier at home, like it's because she's in the house right now and she can't just like go out and buy her groceries. She's like, I spend like $250 every other week on groceries, like I buy nice food for myself, blah blah blah. And she lives a gourmet life, okay? Gary Glitter. So then yeah, she was talking about how she's out of her comfort zone, and then after this really long rant, she starts crying, and everyone's just like, oh, Shelly, don't cry. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So anyway, I'm sure it'll all blow over with Shelly's memory. So then Jason goes up to the HOH room to talk to Clay and Shelly, and he's just like, I know what's going on. I know that Day's the target. I get it. I understand why you're doing this. It's just making me really sad. And he lets them know that he lets them know that he will be giving Day a sympathy vote. He's not going to be one to vote with the house. So they're like, no, we totally get it, we understand. And then Jason's crying, and it's so sad to see him cry. And I'm wondering, like, maybe he was playing it up a little bit to get that sympathy. Like, I think the tears were legit, because he was crying on and off, like, all night. But I think, you know, he was definitely using it to his advantage. So then they're like, you're not going to be alone when she's gone. Like, we all want to work with you. Oh, you got all these options. So, like, your game's going to get better when she leaves. Which could be true, because I think people are chomping at the bit to work with Jason. And now that Day is going to be gone, potentially, it's going to open up a lot of doors for him. So then Day, Jason, and Meg were getting all sentimental and teary in the backyard, and James and Jeff were just like, ugh. It was really awkward because it's pretty obvious now that they knew about Shelley's plan earlier and did not share this with Day and Jason. So it kind of shows, like, you know, they can't really trust them that much, not as much as they did before. So James and Jeff kind of screwed up with that. I don't know how that's going to affect their relationship next week, but we'll see. It should be interesting. So today, they had the power veto ceremony. Johnny Mac used it on himself, as he should. And then Meg was nominated in his place. Moving on. Today was a freaking wild day. Day pretty much figured out the twin twist. She was talking to Jason. She was like, I freaking know it's Liz. They have different faces. One is thinner, one is nicer. Jason was totally on board with this. He's like, you know what? Now that you're bringing this all up, you're totally right. They have different eyes. Their voices are a little bit different. So, so they're like, we need to look out and see, like, if this is for real or not. So Day wants to test Liz Julia by asking her about the specific story that she shared the night before, because they think that there was a switch because they noticed it, and I think there was a switch today. So they want to see if she remembers the story from last night, and Day is hoping that if she goes and shares this with the diary room, she's gonna, like, get some sort of reward or something. I don't know about that, but I'm wondering what's gonna happen with Liz and Julia. So I think if somebody does call them out on this twin swap twist thing, nothing is really going to happen. It's not like they're going to be kicked out of the house immediately. I think the deal is both of them enter the game if they survive 5 evictions. Now, it's going to be more difficult to survive those evictions if people know that that's going to happen, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's, like, a punishment for them being found out, but it's definitely not going to help them. And then I'm not sure what happens with the switching, like, if they're still going to switch, because, like, it's kind of pointless. I don't know. So I'm not really totally clear on what's going to happen, but it's, like, pretty obvious that Day has figured this out. So she's definitely, it's spreading around the house. So we'll see more of it tomorrow. Also, they had the Big Brother takeover twist today, the last laugh. And it wasn't like I expected. I thought maybe, like, we were going to get calls throughout the week, but they did it all at once today. Everybody got a phone call, and the person who got the 7th call wins the special power. Guess who the 7th call was for? Day. What? Alright, so we'll have more on that tomorrow. There's going to be a lot more detail on that tomorrow. Just today is done. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Do you think that Day is going to be able to turn it around now that she has a special power? I don't know. What's going to happen with Liz Julia? Alright, until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.